Hi, kids. It's story time with Mommy Rocky once again. Thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to read another story from Why the Piña Has 100 Eyes and other classic Philippine folk tales about fruits. This book was published by Tahanan Books and it was written by Neni Romana Cruz. The beautiful drawings in this book were illustrated by Felix Mago Miguel. Today, we're going to find out why the mango is shaped like a heart. I never thought that the mango shape was shaped like a heart, but now that I think about it, I think it is. I wonder why it is. I think it's because of a beautiful little girl. I wonder what lessons we're going to learn from this story. Are you ready? Let's go. The story is called Aganhon the Beautiful. Why the mango is shaped like a heart. A long time ago, in a quiet Kalibo village in the southern province of Aklan, there lived a man whose temper was so explosive that the townspeople there called him Dayogdog, a name which means thunder. Dayogdog was married to a kind and understanding woman named Mabuot. In the eyes of the villagers, they made a strange couple because they were so different from each other. How lucky Dayogdog is, they would say, and how unlucky Mabuot is, they would add. It was not long before Mabuot gave birth to a baby girl named Aganhon. She was as beautiful as the dawn and as even-tempered as her mother. When Aganhon was still very young, many suitors already sought her hand. Aganhon is still too young to love anyone, the Yogdog would say to chase off the young men who wanted to win his daughter's hand. As the years passed, Aganhon became even more beautiful. She was a young woman now and ready to marry. But the choice of a husband was not hers to make. The Yogdog already made his choice for her. He wanted someone exactly like him, as fiery and as determined. He chose Mayopig, a man who seemed like a younger version of himself. Aganhon told her father she did not want to marry Mayopig. She begged and pleaded, but her father's heart was unmoved. Even her mother, Mabuot, tried to talk her husband out of it, but to no avail. Deogdog was never known to change his mind. Aganhon will marry Mayopig. He is best for her, he roared. The date of the marriage between Aganhon and Mayopig was set for the day of the next full moon. Mayopig celebrated his triumph over all the other suitors. He bragged to anyone who would listen that he had bested them all. How he danced with joy. Meanwhile, Aganhon wept in misery. She could not bear the thought of spending the rest of her life with a man she did not love. She refused to take any part in the wedding preparations. For many days, no one saw her take her favorite afternoon walks among the trees by the spring in the back of her house. The villagers began to wonder what had become of her. Aganhon made herself a prisoner in her own room from the day her father sealed her fate. She refused to eat nor drink. On the day of the wedding, the Yogdog's house was crowded with guests. Aganhon's father went to Aganhon's room to tell her to get ready for the ceremonies, but she was not in her room nor in any part of the house. No one had seen her leave. The Yogdog and Mabuot began to worry. They sent off guests and friends to look for the missing bride. They hoped Aganhon would return before the groom Mayopig arrived. Alas, Aganhon would never return home. She kept her vow not to give her heart to Mayopig. Her lifeless body was found lying by the little spring that flowed in the back of their house. She had thrust a dagger through her own heart. Aganhon chose to still her heart rather than give it to Mayopig. Stunned with grief, Deogdog now imprisoned himself in his house. He refused to see anyone. He tore at his hair and despaired that he had not listened to his daughter's frantic pleas. He did not even want to face Mayopig, the man who would have been his son-in-law. The wedding party had now turned into a funeral. On the moonlit night after she had been laid to rest, Aganhon appeared to her father in a troubled dream. He tried to reach out to her, but he knew he could not bring his dead daughter back to life. In the dream, Aganhon told the Yogdog to go to the spring the next morning. There, he would find a new tree with heart-shaped fruits. She gently reassured him. "I forgive you, Father, but when you take this fruit, think of me and my broken heart." Then the beautiful Aganhon disappeared and floated away as is in a dream. At daybreak, the Yogdog was eager to see if the tree he had been told in his dream did exist. He ran down to the spring, and lo and behold, there stood in front of him a great and magnificent tree. Its thick, sturdy branches grew gracefully toward the sky, and tucked within its many green leaves were hundreds of heart-shaped fruits, just as Aganhon had described. The fruits were as smooth as Aganhon's skin. Most of them were hard and green, but the softer, riper ones turned golden yellow. The Yogdog remembered his daughter's wish. He plucked a yellow fruit from the lowest bowl. Carefully, he took a bite. The fruit was sweet and pungent on his tongue. It was unlike anything he had ever tasted. The Yogdog put another golden fruit in his pocket and rushed home to tell his wife. Mabuot cried at the memory of Aganhon. She held the heart-shaped fruit in her trembling hand. It was as if she were holding her own daughter's heart. The Yogdog was now full of remorse. He called the townspeople to tell them of this wonderful fruit, which was a gift from his daughter. The townspeople came to call the fruit mango, meaning heart-shaped. And parents who eat the mangoes are reminded never to break their children's hearts. What lessons do you think you learned from this story? Sometimes parents make mistakes, but we shouldn't go through such extremes as to still our own hearts and run daggers through them. We should learn to understand our parents as much as our parents must learn to understand our choices. If we love each other as families do, we will listen to each other and understand. I hope you guys got your lessons from such a sad story, and may we all learn never to break each other's hearts. The mangoes are sweet and beautiful, and they smell really good when they're golden yellow, just like Aganhon's skin. But they can be ripe when they're ripe, but when they're green and hard, like the resolve and the rules of Aganhon's father, the Yogdog, it could be very sour and unpleasant. Thank you for listening to me today. If you learned other lessons from this story, please write them in the comment section. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again. Bye, kids!